Vince Dao, you're like the only Asian conservative commentator.
Hi, I'm Vince Dao, and I'm so conservative that I don't want anything to do with the left. In fact, I don't even turn left when I walk.
If we're spreading this conservative message and people like Vince Dao spread the message really well, and the young people get access to this message, they're going to start doing more research and looking into these subjects.
In fact, I was following, the whole political sphere on Instagram, Vince Dao Lance videos.
The more we have people like you can be able to counteract all the BS that they spreading in school today, man. So you guys are just as important, man. Don't ever think otherwise, man.
Isn't it great to see so many like-minded, patriotic Americans come together and take a stand for some common sense and American principles? Give yourselves a hand.
Yeah. MAGA gang, CAD gang, same thing. MAGA gang, CAD gang, same thing. Look, yeah. If you don't like this country, you can leave. If you don't like this country, you can leave. They talk about socialism, please shut up. They say keep it PC, but now I'm about to cut up. Black, white, and brown, I'ma still call you my brother. And if you a woman, you a daughter, you a mother. I support the real, I don't care about your color. Say the truth, like they trying to take our freedoms from us. We got al-Baghdadi. Tell Miss Clinton this is not no Benghazi. It's crazy watching Democrats defend Soleimani. Telling people that I strapped up, so don't try me. They trying to take your guns. Control the flow of information. They feeding you fake news. Just how they started the nation. Now your kids supporting terrorists. They should support our nation. And if you don't like this country, get out, stop procrastinating. If you don't like this country, you can leave. If you don't like this country, you can leave. They talk about socialism, please shut up. They say keep it PC, but now I'm about to cut up. Black, white, and brown, I'ma still call you my brother. And if you a woman, you a daughter, you a mother. I care about who real, I don't care about your color. Say the truth loud, they trying to take our freedoms from us. Hey, you can leave. Cardi B, you can leave. T.I., you can leave. Colin Kaepernick, you can leave. Tell Bernie Sanders he can leave. If I know more, you can leave. Tell AOC that she can leave. Same thing with Rashida Tlaib. Right too hard. Hey, right too hard. Yeah, right too hard. Yeah, ain't no mad gang, CAD gang, same thing it is. Real mad gang playing both sides. If they ask me who I'm voting for, I tell them 4-5. Now the Democrats trying to take up 4-5s. I was on the left, but I stopped believing those lies. They don't even care about kids in the womb. I say I'm pro-life and they call me a coon. If we don't care about our future, then that mean we all doomed. Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's talk facts. First step back. Lowest unemployment, never if you black. Checking 401k, look at all them racks. And we got a stock market turn to the max. Talk about wage growth, but we did that. Plus everybody working and he lowering the tax. Most people working never keep fit the impact. No, I can't be a Democrat. Economy booming. When all these leftist celebrities moving, they keep taking shots, you would think that they hooping. But they not balling, they just keep on losing. I used to be a Democrat, had to think. Told a little bye, no instinct. Trump 2020, I don't care what you think. Trying to ride away, but I know they gon' sink. Real MAGA gang ain't playing both sides. They ask me who I'm voting for, I tell them 4-5. That a Democrat trying to take a 4-5. I was on the left, but I stopped believing those lies. They don't even care about kids in the womb. Said I'm pro-life and they call me a coon. We don't care about the future, then that mean we all doomed. Let's address the elephant in the room. Real MAGA gang ain't playing both sides. They ask me who I'm voting for, I tell them 4-5. That a Democrat trying to take a 4-5. I was on the left, but I stopped believing those lies. They don't even care about kids in the womb. Said I'm pro-life and they call me a coon. We don't care about the future, then that mean we all doomed. Let's address the elephant in the room. Look, hey, they say ain't you that MAGA boy? Call me what you want, cause that don't matter, boy. I just speak the truth, that's something they don't understand. Why these white liberals trying to tell me who I am? Don't put me in groups, cause I'm my own man. I said I wasn't Democrat and lost a few friends. Radio stopped playing me, I lost a few fans. Don't tell me I'm a victim, cause the power in my hands. I am not a victim, I am not oppressed. They keep taking shots, so I might just buy a vest. They said I want my MAGA hat, I told them say less. I bought the biggest MAGA hat, I did it just to flex. Wear it every day just to make them boys upset. I can't be controlled by nobody or a check. They call me a coon, I'm not impressed. They don't like the truth, so the least they gon' suppress. You can't bear the facts, man. They think they can control me, cause I'm a black man. Ayy, tell them Tiff I don't lack, man. Why? So don't try to be Batman. Ooh. Hey, they say ain't you that MAGA boy? Call me what you want, cause that don't matter, boy. I just speak the truth, that's something they don't understand. Why these white liberals trying to tell me who I am? Don't put me in groups, cause I'm my own man. I said I wasn't Democrat and lost a few friends. Radio stopped playing me, I lost a few fans. Don't tell me I'm a victim, cause the power in my hands. Hey, they say ain't you that MAGA boy? Call me what you want, cause that don't matter, boy. I just speak the truth, that's something they don't understand. Why these white liberals trying to tell me who I am? Don't put me in groups, cause I'm my own man. I said I wasn't Democrat and lost a few friends. Radio stopped playing me, I lost a few fans. Don't tell me I'm a victim, cause the power in my hands.
Vince Dao, you're like the only Asian conservative commentator.
Hi, I'm Vince Dao, and I'm so conservative that I don't want anything to do with the left. In fact, I don't even turn left when I walk.
If we're spreading this conservative message and people like Vince Dao spread the message really well, and the young people get access to this message, they're going to start doing more research and looking into these subjects.
In fact, I was following, the whole political sphere on Instagram, Vince Dao Lance videos.
The more we have people like you can be able to counteract all the BS that they spreading in school today, man. So you guys are just as important, man. Don't ever think otherwise, man.
stand for some common sense and American principles. Give yourselves a hand.
And we are live. Welcome everyone to episode 9. It's crazy to think we've done 9 episodes of this already, but episode 9 of America Rising, the Vince Dao Show. I am, of course, I am Vince Dao. Before we begin, you guys like my shirt? Look at this, Portnoy Must 2024. It finally came in the mail. Get yours today from Barstool Sports. I love this shirt. You knew I had to wear it, as soon as I got it. Epic and based, an amazing shirt. Thank you guys all for tuning in. All right, these streams have been doing really well recently, and let's hope for more. And next week is the 10th episode. Hopefully going to try to do something really cool and special for that. So we'll see. But tonight, I report to inform to you tonight that America is officially under control of the mob. Civil government is an illusion. Checks and balances, the Constitution, federalism, all systems of American governance that we are told are currently in place are not. It is an illusion. It is a lie. It may be inconvenient to admit, but deep down everyone knows it. America is not being controlled by rule of law. It's under control by law of mob. Look no further than the case of Rayshard Brooks. Last Friday in Atlanta, police were called after a man passed out drunk in the middle of a crowded and active Wendy's drive-thru, blocking traffic in the process. Police officers cordially came to the scene and tried to check out if the man was okay, and, as is standard, asked if he had been drinking, which Rayshard Brooks revealed that he had been. He obviously was. Cops then respectfully asked if he would like to take a breathalyzer test, and he agreed. Again, this is all on video. You can verify this all for yourself. Not surprisingly, the breathalyzer test showed that Brooks was above the legal blood alcohol content. So, as is standard procedure for someone passed out drunk in a running car in the middle of active traffic, cops tried to make an arrest for the DUI. Upon trying to do so, Brooks violently resisted the cops, tried to wrestle away from their grip, threw some punches at them. As is usual for a suspect resisting arrest, the cops then warned him while he was doing all of this that he was, quote, gonna get tased, because he was. So one of the cops pulls out the taser, Brooks steals the taser, punches them in the face, and runs off with the taser. While running, Brooks clearly turns around to point the taser at the cops. We now know that Brooks fired and hit the officer with a taser. Upon doing so, upon fighting the police, punching them in the face, grabbing their weapon, and shooting them with it, Brooks was shot by officers. Body cam video then shows officers clearly trying to resuscitate Brooks immediately after the shooting, but Brooks, unfortunately, would later die. So we should point out a few things. 1. When used incorrectly, especially by an untrained individual that is drunk, a taser absolutely can be lethal. 2. Georgia state law is reflected as such. Georgia Code 1611-106 defines a taser as a firearm and classifies the use of a taser as potentially deadly force. 3. Scenarios in which suspects have grabbed tasers and fired them at cops have occurred in the past, including in the state of Georgia, and cops shot the suspect and then proceeded to keep their job. So this has happened before. There is a standard, there is a precedent for situations like this, and in all the situations, cops have kept their job. Know the matter? Immediately, the mob tried to rewrite the story based on falsehoods. Brooks's lawyer said that he was not given a breathalyzer test when he clearly was. Black Lives Matter activists tried to say that he was just sleeping in a parked car. He wasn't. They tried to say it was an unlawful arrest. It was not. The mob claimed that he was a non-violent threat who was simply running away again. demonstrably false. Perhaps if American law still ruled American society, this cop would also keep his job, like all the other cops before him. But the mob now controls American society, and everyone knows it. Within a day, the cop was fired, and the Atlanta police chief resigned over this. I wish I could say it stopped there, but it didn't. The local DA brought 10 charges on the officer, including felony murder. In an extremely unprecedented perversion of justice, these charges came before the investigation into the case had even concluded. Just a week before, this cop faces life in prison for viewing a taser as use of deadly force. The same DA, by the way, in the ultimate twist of irony, fired several cops from the Atlanta Police Department for using tasers. This DA pointed out that Georgia state law defines a taser as a deadly weapon. So the same person who is now trying to throw an innocent man into life in prison for using a taser, for shooting a suspect trying to use a taser against him, just a week earlier pointed out that Georgia state law defines a taser as a deadly weapon, which it can be. The DA also joined in the demonstrably false rewriting of history, claiming that Brooks never posed a threat and referred to his mannerism as, quote, jovial. When I said that the mob had replaced the U.S. government, due process, and rule of law, I was not exaggerating. I was not kidding. Even the highest court in our land has been replaced. This week, the supposedly conservative Supreme Court ruled against the U.S. Constitution in order to appease the mob. Whatever your opinion on amnesty for illegals is, it's certainly very hard to argue that DACA, as was enacted by President Obama without congressional authorization, was constitutional. Even President Obama himself admitted at the time that its legality was iffy at best. Know the matter. Our supposedly conservative constitutionalist Supreme Court ruled 5-4 that DACA was indeed constitutional. Justice Thomas, a man with an actual ounce of integrity, expressed as such in the dissent for the case, calling the ruling, quote, an effort to avoid a politically controversial but legally correct decision, end quote. And he's right. He's absolutely right. The U.S. Supreme Court openly adverted constitutionality to avoid making a politically controversial decision. And Justice Thomas is 100% right. Now, whatever your opinion is on the choice of some businesses to discriminate against gay people on the basis of their religion, which I personally think is morally abhorrent and wrong, one would be extremely hard-pressed to argue that government has the authority to force a private business owner to violate their own religion. We have something called a First Amendment in this country that clearly and expressly protects religious liberty. But again, our supposedly conservative, constitutionalist, textualist, originalist Supreme Court rejected that as well. Happy Pride Month, by the way. The politics of this mob have overtaken due process and U.S. law. It's quite simple. It's right in front of there for everyone to see. Justice is no longer blind. Even the highest court in this land, even in the highest court in this land, justice is no longer blind. I'd love to say that I'm confident that Officer Wolf in Atlanta will be let off because the charges against him are so ridiculously bogus and just plain out wrong. But civil justice no longer exists in this country. That's quite clear. Even the highest court in this land, the Supreme Court of the United States, has bowed to the mob. Nothing is safe. Nothing. Now, the mob isn't just changing the law. They're also actively enforcing the law of the revolution. Cops have already been ordered to stand down across this country from the beginning. But following this denial and perversion of justice to Officer Wolf, most cops in Atlanta and several cops across the country have either refused to answer calls, called in sick, or walked off the job entirely. Understandably and justifiably, of course, it is incumbent on law enforcement to take a stand against the way they're being treated. I don't blame them whatsoever. But it does reaffirm one thing. The mob has indeed replaced law enforcement and government. They rule our country, and they know it. After destroying thousands of private businesses, the mob's new target is statues, because nothing says an anti-fascist crusade quite like destroying monuments of history. The mob has come for any statue in sight, including statues of abolitionists and actually one of Abraham Lincoln emancipating a slave. So this clearly isn't about just trying to remove culturally insensitive and racial images from the public eye. This is an indiscriminate war they are waging to erase history, all history, not just some history, all history. And to erase our country, for that matter. Nothing is safe. Here in America, multiple statues of George Washington have been defaced. The father of our country, gone, destroyed. Of course, it's no surprise. The mob hates our country and wants to see it torn down. So it's no surprise they tear down George Washington statues. But it is quite tragic, it is quite shocking to see that the idea that we should tear down the father of our country like that has become so mainstream here in America. How and when did that happen? And what is the path forward for our country now that this is the standard? That George Washington needs to be canceled. In England, supposed anti-fascist domestic terrorists have come for Winston Churchill statues because, again, nothing says anti-fascism quite like destroying statues of the greatest anti-fascist in history. Now, those who have actually tried to protect history, to protect these monuments, have, of course, as we've all expect, been violently attacked. In some cases, arrested for trying to defend themselves from those attacks. But the mob isn't just trying to destroy history. It's also trying to rewrite it. Now, the far left has subtly done this for years, okay, altering the historical narrative taught to kids in order to instill a biased anti-American agenda in the minds of kids as they go through school, and it's framed as history when it's really not. But now they're not even subtle about it anymore. It's not subtle indoctrination. The mob is teaching history that is straight up, objectively, refutable lies. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. That is the history that the mob now preaches. Ingsoc history, 1984 history. Take the example of Aunt Jemima, the iconic American pancake mix and syrup brand. This week, the Quaker Oats Company announced that it would be removing the Aunt Jemima from its branding because somehow representing black people in advertising is racist. A far cry for calls for more racial diversity in advertising of 2 weeks ago. So that's interesting. That is really interesting. I thought diversity, we needed more diversity in advertising. I guess not. I guess we got to delete all the black people from the advertising because that will definitely solve racism. But who was Aunt Jemima? What's the actual history behind this famous brand? The mob doesn't want you to know that answer, but I do. Nancy Green, more famously known as Aunt Jemima, was a former slave turned highly successful entrepreneur, an inspiring black American success story, and quite literally, the first of her kind. Born as a slave in Kentucky in 1834, Nancy would become highly successful and wealthy after emancipation. Nancy rose to fame for demonstrating and serving the Aunt Jemima pancake mix at the Chicago Columbia Exposition in 1893. Her pancakes became wildly popular, so much so that special police officers would have to be dispatched to her booth just to keep the line moving. Maybe that's why the mob is after her. The pancakes were so successful that she would become the world's first living advertising trademark. Very wealthy and very successful in the process, as you could imagine, for Aunt Jemima is or was still around today. Now, learning of her story was highly inspiring and uniquely American to me. It is the perfect example of the American dream. The story of a disadvantaged person born into the most oppressive and morally abhorrent of circumstances, able to overcome a lifetime of obstacles and discrimination to become wildly, wildly successful for themselves. The mob doesn't care. She must be deleted from history. Why? Is it because her life success is actually a positive story for Black America and for the broader American experience? Is it because it's actually a good story for race relations and racial reconciliation in this country? Is that why? Is it because Black people on labels is just racist somehow? Is it because they're so hard pressed to find racism in society that is not really there in large amounts, that the only thing they can single in on is pancake syrup, because they don't have, actual large scale things that they could fight against. So you got to come after the pancake syrup in the kids shows and in the cartoons. Is that why? We're not sure. We're really not sure why. But then again, neither is the mob. They don't have a clue either. But perhaps the best example of the blatant leftist dystopian revision of history comes from Democrat and former running mate for Hillary Clinton, Senator Tim Kaine. This week on the Senate floor, Kaine claimed that, quote, America didn't inherit slavery from anyone. We created it. America didn't inherit slavery from anyone. We created it. This is not simply spin. It is not just an inaccurate. This is an outright historically refutable, intentional, and blatant lie. I shouldn't have to explain why, but to anyone who didn't pass middle school history, America quite literally inherited the system of slavery from the British. But beyond that, slavery was not and never was unique to Britain. It existed in virtually every civilization from the start of civilization. Rome, Greece, West Africa, Tenochtitlan, you name it, slavery was there. So to say that America created slavery is just bullshit. And unless we are to assume that a sitting U.S. Senator and former Democrat running mate for Hillary Clinton just 4 years ago is that dumb, this was an intentional lie to further the left's goal of getting the people of America to hate America. Because, of course, it's the only way they'll embrace leftist policy. Of course. But that's the scary part. This wasn't uttered by some sixth grader. It wasn't even uttered by a university professor in a class of brainwashed students. A U.S. Senator and former vice presidential nominee for the Democratic Party said this on record on the floor of the U.S. Senate. This man was Hillary Clinton's running mate. Remember what I said about the fact that the mob rules this country, not the government? You didn't take me seriously at the beginning of the show. Maybe you do now. Remember all of this. Remember all of this. The next time Joe Biden tries to paint himself as a moderate candidate. Remember it. Remember the next time any Democrat like Tim Kaine tries to paint themselves as moderate. Wrong. Lies. And an equal level of stupidity, the American Civil Liberties Union, a far-left legal fund that is neither American nor for civil liberties, tweeted out that, quote, the death penalty evolved from lynching. It has no place in a justice system worthy of that name. The death penalty evolved from lynching. This is, again, irreparably false. Execution has been a form of punishment not just since colonial times, but also existent in virtually every prior civilization in world history. The ACLU probably wants to take history classes out of school so that we kids can't know that either. This is not just a battle over the legitimacy of certain political ideas. It's not just, right versus left. This is a dystopian, Orwellian rewriting of world history. Our country is not far off from totalitarianism at this rate. As I said, war is peace, freedom is slavery. Even further, is this fake history written by the party going to be taught to the next generation of your children? You better believe it will be. Whether it be the Red Guards in Maoist China, the Hitler Youth in Nazi Germany, or the child spies in the book 1984, children are always the target of totalitarianism. They're young, they're influenceable, so they're a lot easier to brainwash and weaponize than older people. Just look at the streets of America today. What happens if you oppose this mob? There's another question. What happens if you oppose this mob? Well, of course, severe retribution and punishment, including physical harm and possibly death. What else would you expect from a totalitarian dystopia? Many of us have already witnessed it firsthand. I've been doxxed and threatened by many, including my own classmates. But I consider myself lucky. Others have literally been dragged out by angry revolutionaries and beaten in the streets, some killed. Prayers and a cry for justice out to the family of David Dorn and many others, by the way. Every week, we find new evidence of the fact that the mob truly controls all. Every week, every day, something new comes up. Most notably, at least for me as a college football fan this week, Oklahoma State football coach Mike Gundy was canceled by the mob for wearing a shirt of One America News. One America News, by the way, a very famous and mainstream conservative news organization and station. Now, OAN isn't some far-right racist or conspiracy theorist website. It's a mainstream conservative news station. Second on TV, only to Fox News. Know the matter. The mob came for him, and Mike Gundy bowed. As much as they may claim to preach civility, quote-unquote, the left has made it quite obvious. They want no coexistence in this country with conservative-minded people. No coexistence. Anyone remotely to the right needs to be exterminated and their opinion along with them. Totalitarianism, of course, at its finest. There is no coexisting when it comes to the mind of a leftist. Either you're with us or you're against us, and you need to be shut down if you're against us, violently if necessary. But perhaps worse than the actual behavior of the mob itself is the response to the mob by those who are supposedly supposed to defend us from it. Where's the supposedly pro-law and order Republican Party while the mob literally tears down our country? Nowhere to be found, like the cowards that they are. Short of a few, the mob has now managed to shut up nearly every Republican politician in Washington, while ordinary Americans in this country look for leadership and answers amidst the craziness. The Republican Party is silent, spending more time making concessions to the mob than actually taking a stand for the law and order that they supposedly stand for. Now, I'd expect nothing less from the typical spineless DC Republicans we've long known that they're submissive pushovers to the left. But what about the Republican president that we elected to not be a spineless loser like the other Republicans? As a diehard supporter of him, who has long defended him from the nonsense that has thrown his way, it pains me to say this, but it's true. President Trump has abandoned his supporters. Despite some good occasional hints at law and order here and there, the president has spent more time trying to either appease the mob or trying to deflect away from the issue than he actually has trying to save the country from what's going on. This week, after conservatives have fought against this claim for years, President Trump came out and admitted in an interview that he thought America was actually kind of systemically racist. Yesterday, while chaos takes hold in our country, while communists delete our history, beat our people, while cops walk off the job across America and leave the American people to fend for themselves, what was President Trump's focus? A panel on the greatness of the reopening economy. Don't get me wrong. The economy is great. I am so proud of it. I am so happy about it. And I credit our great president for doing it. But it's totally tone deaf. Tone deaf. People are literally getting dragged out and beaten in the streets. There is no police in several American cities. Do you think that the American people are most worried about the jobs numbers right now? Do you think that with a literal revolution taking over our country, that's what the American people care most about right now. There will be plenty of time to boast about the economy on the campaign trail. But do you think that in the here and now, that is what is important, Mr. President? Wake up and smell the coffee, Mr. President. There is a leftist revolution in our country. Of course people care about the economy. Of course they care. But do you think they want to hear about that with a revolution taking over our streets and our culture and our society and our government right now? This is totally tone deaf and out of touch with the American people. And I hope to God Trump finds that out soon, before it's too late. Tone deaf. You know, it would be totally fine to talk about the economy if your main focus the whole time had been about stopping this nonsense. But it hasn't been. President Trump continuously tries to tiptoe around angering the media and the mob. I have a question. Since when did Trump care about what the media thought about him? For this guy's entire political career, President Trump has not cared a single inch, a single damn about what the media thought about him. And rightfully so, That is exactly why the American people elected him in the first place. And now suddenly, when this country needs his strong leadership the most, President Trump suddenly cares about what the media thinks about him. President Trump is suddenly bowing down, trying not to anger the media too much, trying not to anger the mob too much. Let's remind ourselves of something. Law and order is a big reason why President Trump won in 2016. Law and order is popular in this country. President Trump is going to win if he stands for law and order strongly. But he isn't. Trump and the greater GOP seem to be of the thinking that they will just somehow be better off if they just sit around and do nothing but appease and deflect as they let the leftist mob destroy our country. And somehow that will make the country vote for the Republicans. Because law and order, right? I sure hope for all of our sakes that they're right. But I really get the feeling that they are not right. They are wrong. What exactly makes Republicans think that law and order minded citizens will vote for the Republicans if Republicans don't actually stand for law and order? Sure, it is true. It is a correct calculation that these riots and all this chaos makes the silent majority in America more conservative. But how are Republicans going to harness these votes if they don't even act like conservatives? Don't get me wrong. These law and order minded people aren't going to go vote for the Democrats. The Democrats are clinically insane. But if Republicans can't prove that they'll actually stop the Democrats, what the hell's the point? Why vote for the Republicans if the Republicans are just going to be the enablers of this far left chaos and craziness? No, they will not vote for the Republicans, okay? A disgruntled populist who really wants law and order will sit out the November election, will not show up to the polls for the Republicans or really for anyone, and it will result in a far-left Democrat victory. Calling it right now. It is time for Republicans to make a stand, to stand up. It's time for 2016 Trump to come back. With all of his fire and fury, classic Trump. We need Alpha Trump back. We want Alpha Trump back. This country needs and wants a tough leader who will stop the thugs. But they aren't getting it. They are not getting it. Here's the ult. I think this is the ult. This is a small thing, but I think this is the ultimate symbolism for just the complacency, the laziness, and the sheer cowardice coming out of the Republicans going into November right now. If you go on Trump's campaign website right now, you will notice that the Trump campaign is still rolling with the slogan, quote, "Keep America Great." Keep America Great. Now, don't get me wrong. That was a fantastic slogan at the time it was created because our country was in a really good spot. But again, tone-deaf messaging. Wake up and smell the coffee. Wake up and look around what's going on in this country. This country is in a terrible spot. Absolutely terrible spot. Now, it's not Trump's fault. It's definitely not Trump's fault. But to run into November with the messaging that we are going to keep America great, when you look around at America and see that it clearly is not great right now, relative to America at least, or to American standards, why would the American people want to vote for that? Why would they want to say, oh, I mean, not a single person looks around at what's going on in the country right now and thinks, oh, this is great, we need to keep it that way. No, Mr. President, no. Wake up. And as I said, bringing 2016 Trump back, bring back the OG slogan, MAGA, make America great again. It was always the better slogan, but we need that especially right now. Make America great again. That needs to go in as the only slogan going into November, okay? Because America is in a terrible spot right now. Our country is tearing itself down at the hands of far leftists, and your slogan is keep America great? Keep America the way it is? No. Make America great again. We need the make America great again attitude to come back from Trump and the slogan and just in general. All the Republicans need to drop the thinking, the mentality of keep America great and go back to make America great again, because America is in a very, very bad spot right now. And no one in this country argues otherwise. Now you see, it would be one thing. This whole strategy of, oh, let's just sit around and do nothing and let the Democrats destroy the country, and then we'll go into November saying, hey, we're going to fix the country, even though we didn't do anything while we had the power. That would be one thing if a Democrat was president. If a Democrat was president, then Republicans could definitely say, hey, if you elect us, we'll stop this, and the people will listen. The people would listen to that message. If you elect us, we'll stop this Democrat president. But as you can see, we have a Republican president, which means that the people are actually going to look at what he did to stop this crap. What he did. What has he done? And he's barely done anything. Just fumes. And I hate to admit it, but just fumes. Just a few things here and there. Again, I do not say this as a never Trump Mitt Romney Republican, okay? You guys know where I stand. You guys know that I am here defending the guy when the media tries to throw all this dumb bullcrap against him, okay? Just so don't try to say, oh, I'm like turning on Trump. No, this is tough love. That's what it is, tough love. Trump needs it. His base needs to bring it onto him, okay? Tough love. Because I recognize the significance of this election more than anyone. Our civilization is on the line in November, okay? We are. Don't get me wrong. If Joe Biden were to win, and Joe Biden does win, I will be the first person signing up, on board with the resistance movement, as in, we are going to fight as Republicans, tooth and nail to stop, the far left craziness from taking over this country. But we are screwed. I mean, quite literally, we are screwed if Joe Biden wins in this November. And I, for one, am not willing to just sit here and watch my party and my president sit around and be soft and just generally do nothing as the left bowls over us. Okay, it is going to end in disaster, and I'm just going to sit around and let it happen. So tough love, Mr. President. Tough love. I am the one who is always here when the media and the left attacks him for dumb bullcrap. But in this case, President Trump is clearly caring more about not pissing off the media than he actually is caring about us, which has been the fatal flaw of Republicans for decades. It loses them elections, and it destroys their legacy. We elected Trump precisely because he vowed not to do that, not to just give in when the media gets tough on him. And yet here he is. I hope that changes soon. Tomorrow night, President Trump is bringing back the MAGA rallies, and I'm going to call them the MAGA rallies as much as he wants to try to use his campaign wants to use the CAG logo, the Keep America Great slogan. It's a terrible slogan, totally inappropriate. Tomorrow night, President Trump brings back the rallies. And President Trump tweeted out today that tomorrow night will be the true start of his campaign. Sort of indirectly bringing the messaging that things are going to change from me as a leader and as a candidate. I sure as hell hope he's right. Okay? I am praying to God that tomorrow night we're going to see a new president, well, not even a new President Trump, that tomorrow night we're going to see the old President Trump with some balls, with some guts, come back. Tomorrow night, I'm hoping we see the president who calls himself the law and order president actually come out and act like a law and order president. Tomorrow night, I hope that we see the president stop trying to appease the mob and start trying to stand for the patriots and the law and order minded people of this country. If President Trump does that, he will win in November. But if he sits around, if he appeases the mob, if he abandons us, which he is doing right now, if he abandons us, then I don't know. I sure hope I'm wrong. I sure as hell hope for all of our sakes that the Republicans are right in this strategy of sit around, do nothing, and then we'll win in November if we just sit around and do nothing. But I'm highly skeptical of it, and so should you. So should you be. So let's all hope, as conservatives, as patriots, that President Trump writes his course and writes it fast. Let's all hope so. You know, Tuesday, and before we go on this show, I want to sort of just drop this out there. On Tuesday, I will be heading to Phoenix, Arizona. It's extremely freaking hot there. But on Tuesday, I'll be heading to Phoenix, Arizona for the Students for Trump convention. President Trump will be speaking there. Donald Trump Jr. and Kimberly Guilfoyle will be speaking there. By the way, you can register. Come meet me. If you're in the Phoenix area, if you're willing to travel out, come register and come meet me. TrumpStudents.org/convention. Come and meet me. This Tuesday, this Tuesday, I will be seeing the President of the United States speak in person for the third time in my life. I sure as hell hope that the president that I see is my president. The person we know, the person we support, the person we elected. And not this cowardly ghost of, I don't know, Mitt Romney, of this cowardly Mitt Romney demon that is possessing Trump right now. I sure hope it ends. Mr. President, we love you. You know, we stand by you. We all of us are screwed if you do not win this election. But that's precisely why. Out of love, out of support, that is precisely why the American people, your base, demand, and not just asks, but demands of you to stand up and be the leader that you are meant to be. You are tough. You can and need to be the so-called law and order president. So do it. Straight up do it. And that's not just a message to Trump, okay? Trump is not the only Republican guilty of this. I'm not just targeting him. I'm only coming after him because A, he's the president, and B, he's the one Republican who's not supposed to play these games. But all the Republicans are guilty of this. And so this is a message to all the Republican candidates going into November. I'm talking everything from city council to House to Senate, governors, all of them. Take a damn stand. Stop the cowardice. The American people are going to be voting on the issue of law and order in November. Law and order and the ability to defend themselves against this chaos, because they know what's coming. They know what's coming from the defund, abolish police movement. And you'd have to be stupid to not know and see what's coming. They all know it, and they're all scared. The American people are terrified of what's coming in this country, which is utter and complete lawlessness and crime ruling our streets. They will vote in strong support. I would predict even in liberal areas, they will vote in strong support of the candidates that actually take a stand for law and order. But they will not be supporting, they will not be voting for candidates that are weak. In times of chaos like this, the American people are going to be looking for strong candidates. And all I see, exempt of a few people, all I see from the GOP is weakness. Weakness is a losing strategy, especially for Republicans, especially for conservatives. Weakness loses. Weakness fails. Alpha moves only. You guys all know that's my slogan, okay? Alpha moves only. Stop the weakness. Speaking of the weakness, I'm not going to only target Trump, okay? Because that's not fair whatsoever. This is the whole GOP. Where is Brian Kemp right now? Brian Kemp is the governor of Georgia. A lot of people seem to have forgotten this. We're all treating Georgia right now like it's a far left state, blue state, because of what's going on in Atlanta. Brian Kemp is the governor of Georgia. This is the guy who made that famous commercial calling himself the real conservative. If you're looking for a real conservative candidate, that's me. Guy literally blew up stuff and showed off his shotgun because he's trying to say, I am so conservative, look at me. Where's conservative Brian Kemp right now? Where's the guy who made that commercial with the shotgun and the pickup truck and the explosion? Where is he? He's straight up abandoned Atlanta. I get it that Atlanta is run by a far-left Democrat mayor idiot, but where's Brian Kemp? This is going to be a losing strategy for Georgia going into November. Georgia's a very important. Brian Kemp's not up for re-election, but Georgia's a very important race in the presidential and congressional elections. And the Republicans have completely abandoned Georgia. The Republican leadership of Georgia has abandoned him. Where is Brian Kemp stepping in to say what this DA is doing is nonsense? Where is he? This guy's supposed to be the real conservative. This guy ran off of not being one of those like soft rhino Republicans. He ran off of being, if you're looking for a real conservative candidate, that's me. Where is he? Where's the whole Republican Party? Wake up, people. Wake the hell up. You know, I've tweeted about this, okay? And usually when you criticize Trump or you criticize, the Republican Party, the cool people in the Republican Party, you lose followers because you look like a never Trump idiot, and most of the times you do look like a never Trump idiot. But I've gained, okay, like all of my followers who are pro-Trump patriots have all come to my support saying, I agree with you, Vince. The Trump and the Republicans are soft. Their leadership is weak and disappointing. Where are they? So where are you people? You're abandoning your citizens. You're abandoning your voters, your supporters especially. Your voters voted for you to stand for law and order. We voted for people like Trump and Brian Kemp and all these Republicans. So precisely so that the far left wouldn't have a revolution and take over our country like they are right now. And yet, all the Republicans have abandoned us, including the president who supposedly was elected to be tough. Tomorrow night, during the Trump rally, by the way, guys, just to put this out there, we're probably going to be live streaming tomorrow night during the Trump rally. We'll probably do like a live reaction panel, probably get Chandler Crump on there. Not confirmed yet, but we'll see. But tomorrow night, I really hope to see the old Trump return. I hope to see the fire and fury of 2016 because the American people need and want that right now. They are angry. They are pissed. Now they could be only pissed at the mob, but they are pissed at two things. They are pissed at the mob, obviously, but they are also pissed at the Republicans for doing nothing about the mob. Republicans still have time to change that, but I don't see any sign that they're going to. So I sure as hell hope that tomorrow night we see a big change in rhetoric from President Trump. You can brag about the economy later. The economy is great, and the economy is going to be much better going to the election season than it is now. Right now, in the here and now, we are in a crisis that has nothing to do with the economy. It has everything to do with our culture, in our civil law. So take a damn stand. Stop being a coward. Stand up and fight for your people, President Trump, and all the so-called Republicans in Congress. So again, on Tuesday when I head to Phoenix to see our great president speak in person, I hope to see the man that I know deep down President Trump is. I hope to see him speak in person. Because the Republicans have failed us. Okay? And then this is definitely not me taking the side of Mitt Romney or the mob. Because they are evil. They're absolutely evil. But the Republican Party is complacent in that evil. And I dare you to say otherwise. What the hell exactly makes the Republican Party think that being complacent while they have the power against the evil in this country will somehow make the American people say, hey, you know what? I want to reelect the Republicans. That seems like a great idea. You know what? I want to reelect Trump because law and order. Wait a minute. What the hell did Trump do to actually stand for law and order? Do something. It's absolutely sad. Speaking of President Trump needing to do something, President Trump has talked the last 2 weeks about putting down CHAZ, CHOP, the autonomous zone / occupation protest in Seattle, and it hasn't happened yet. Now, I understand, and I will give President Trump some leeway on this. I understand there are legality issues to it. They are looking into it. But let's talk a little bit about CHOP. Let's talk a little bit about CHAZ. Because I think I'm just gonna keep going calling it CHAZ, even though they changed the name. Okay. Because I think CHAZ is a really good representation, a really good symbol, a really good prediction of where our country is headed. And so, to get a really good insight into where our country is headed, we actually sat down and a lot of great reporters who I am friends with, you know, slightly offensive, some people from Daily Caller, a lot of others, infiltrated the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone / occupation protest to get us a glimpse of what's going on. Today I interviewed Jorge Ventura. He interns for the Daily Caller, independent reporter, great guy. Make sure you follow him on social media. We sat down with a man who has infiltrated CHAZ. So tonight, coming up next on America Rising, episode 9 of the Vince Dao Show, we're going to infiltrate the Capitol Hill occupation protest. You ready? Let's dive in. Okay, well, last week on the show, I talked a little bit about CHAZ. I guess it's now called CHOP. But I guess the best way to really delve into, I guess it's the newest country in America, although I think they rescinded their independence, so it's the shortest-lived country, one of the shortest-lived countries in history. But anyways, here to break it all down is someone who actually infiltrated CHAZ as a journalist. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jorge Ventura to the show. Jorge, how you doing? And how was CHAZ? Like, just break it down from like you get there, like you walk in, like what's the experience like from like start to end? Just give it a
so the very cool thing, man, is I got to enter on a Friday, and I actually got to go with Elijah Schaefer, slightly offensive. And you know, the my first impressions, man, it was very like it was like a community vibe type of thing. It kind of felt like you were hanging out at like Coachella, kind of like hippie festival. People are smoking, drinking, kind of doing what they want. So in the daytime, my first impressions was like, okay, this is kind of like a rave type of thing. Nothing too serious. I did speak to a couple of Seattle locals before I stepped right in and said, hey, in the daytime it's pretty normal, but usually at the nighttime it gets pretty crazy. And yeah, man, so it was a pretty chill thing. Try to keep it low key. Me and Elijah, the first day, me and Elijah just focused on getting pictures and videos of like the atmosphere. So we walked to the barricades, checked out all that stuff. Now, in my experience, we didn't have the whole thing where we got like stopped at the barricades and checkpoints and asked for IDs or anything like that. So on the first night, we didn't see that, man. Very, very hippie festival. Just trying to get like the vibe of it and trying to see like the clear direction. So the thing about CHAZ, it's kind of broken up into like a couple groups. So you have your like white liberals and like people who are like feeling guilty for being white there. Then you just kind of have like your hippies who are just kind of like, hey, this is like a free zone. We could smoke and drink, and you know, you have that going on. And then you still have like your Black Lives Matter people who are like, you know, BLM, we're out here for Black Lives Matter. And then you have like Antifa just kind of floating around and taking advantage of this whole thing. So the whole thing's kind of was a mess the first day. Things for me got interesting the second day is where we got to film a group of the two people that walked in with the American flags. They're not associated with the Proud Boys, but the security guards were. And that's when things got really kicked off for us, because they stepped into CHAZ, and the whole motion, like people started like getting really mad at the American flag. There was a one shot where I'm filming a guy, I believe he has like a Soviet Union hat on, and he's literally he's literally cussing at the guy. His name is Max, who has the flag. He's cussing at him, saying, "Hey, this is super offensive." He's like, if he's like back in the day, whatever, he would try to say that like you know, that Jews wouldn't want the Nazi flag floating around them. So he was basically comparing the American flag to the Nazi flag. And that's also when we also they like chased out Max and Katie out of CHAZ. And as they're chasing them out, one of the people in CHAZ actually steals the American flag from Katie. They try to steal the other American flag from Max. They weren't able to get it. And then that's when we also film. There's a scene where we film a Jeep Liberty. It has no license plates, and that Jeep Liberty is basically doxing these people's cars. So it was trying to take down their information. So things really got hectic for us on Saturday. As a journalist, they kind of knew that I was not on their side. So after that scene, I kind of got away from the scene and came back at night. And Saturday was a real interesting day. But for us, the biggest day for us was Sunday, actually, because throughout the whole day, we're getting interviews, we're just talking to folks. and things like that. And that's the night that we actually got to film a small business being attacked. And that's the one I wanted to highlight to people, that is this small business had a huge mob attack these people. And the reason why the attack came is, I guess, one person from CHAZ jumped the fence into this small business called Car Tender in Seattle, jumped over the fence into this automobile business, then started a fire in the business. So the business people then obviously hold this guy down. They call the cops. The cops says, we're not coming in there. These people have basically have no choice but to hold this guy down and like try to at least get some answers out of him. And I guess this huge mob found out about that, attacked this guy's business, demand this guy be released. The whole thing is a big mess, man. And I guess the thing that we wanted to highlight is like the regular folks in Seattle who are kind of stuck in the middle of this. There's folks, obviously, they can't even open their business now, so they're not even getting the normal foot traffic, all that. They're already losing money. Then you have people who are trying to. I was seeing a guy tweet. He's like, "Yo, I can't even get Amazon to deliver my products. They won't come in there." This whole thing is a mess. It's a no cop zone within these 6 blocks. So it's literally, Vince, if you're getting jumped, they won't come for you. You literally have to be like getting shot live for them to say, okay, we're coming in. The whole thing is just a huge mess, bro. Huge mess. That's all I could really say right now.
And they probably still wouldn't come for you even if you were getting shot. I mean, yeah, I guess so, because it's an autonomous, it's its own country, you know, the American police aren't allowed in there. But I got to say, you know, not very good for foreign relations when, as your own independent country, when, you know, someone comes in diplomatically trying to fly the American flag and they get assaulted for it. Like, you know, that an American citizen getting beat up in CHAZ, I mean, I would think that's a declaration of war, but regardless, not very good foreign diplomacy. Is this the correct video I'm showing of the small business owner getting attacked, or is this something else?
This is the part where you have this huge mob is attacking this guy. Now, what you're not seeing it on film, I didn't want to get it on film, is the business owners are literally getting their guns ready. Like, they're getting strapped up, and they're ready to defend their business. At the end of the day, they're literally forced to. Cops won't come in, ambulances won't come in, and this is a huge problem that like folks in Seattle are facing. But if you turn on CNN, MSNBC, or any other news, even Fox News, they're trying to portray this place as a very peaceful place. I heard the quote from the mayor of Seattle calling it the summer of love, and this is just ridiculous. And right here too in this clip, when I was interviewing this business owner, he's literally saying, I have no one in Seattle, either local government or in city council, to represent me. He says, I want to be represented. And he really wanted that Seattle police precinct. He wants that restored. That's the police precinct that the Seattle Police Department lost. And it's just an unfortunate situation. I hope obviously with your show, like things like this, we could highlight these issues that regular Americans are facing in Seattle.
Absolutely, and I think the majority of people in Seattle want to see that that precinct restored. But anyways, how is you obviously you witnessed, you documented a lot, but how is it for you personally in CHAZ? Like, how were you treated? I mean, I'm sure they saw your camera, they knew you were a journalist. You sort of brought this up before, but like, did you ever get attacked, or you know, was it general? Like, how did it go for you personally in CHAZ?
Well, the thing for me, Vince, is Antifa doxed me here in Baltimore a couple of weeks ago, reporting on the riots. So I really wanted to play it smart going into Seattle. So to me, man, I went undercover, tried to play it smooth. I didn't want to let anyone know I was opposing opposition. When I was filming the American flag chase, a couple of folks from that group noticed that basically I was documenting to basically help out the other side if anything happened. So what happened was they actually chased me and two of my team from Daily Caller. They chased us down a couple blocks. And the thing is, it's we're constantly being watched. The thing is, it's like we can't really work in peace. I know for other reporters it was easy to work in peace, but for me, I had to watch my back the whole time, played undercover. We were being followed after we got that clip of the chase. So after that, we actually wanted to we went back to the hotel and just played it safe, kept everything low key. But the whole time, man, personally for me, somebody like me, I'm always watching my back. Elijah too, man. Elijah had to play it undercover, and he had to really watch his back. There was actually a part. Maybe you'll talk to Elijah about this in the future, but there was a part where we were reporting out of a protest out of another Seattle police precinct, and I noticed one of the people protesting start to follow Elijah everywhere Elijah went, and he was basically texting and phoning in somebody that Elijah was at that protest and then he was undercover. And then basically after that little moment, Elijah told me, he's like, yo, that guy almost outed me. He like stepped up to me and was like pressing me, asking me who I was. So for people like me and Elijah and other people in media, we can't really work in peace the way we would like. My style, Vince. I like to show up, dress nice, interview folks, have just do a regular job. But we had to be more undercover. We had to watch for our safety. There was another journalist who has been attacked by Antifa who was working with us that I can't give out his name just for his safety reasons. He was with us the whole time also. So for me, man, it's like playing it undercover. Didn't show my face, and I feel like I got out of CHAZ right in time before things got really hectic for us in media.
So for being a quote unquote free autonomous zone, it seems like there's not a lot of journalistic or press freedom in this country, this new country of CHAZ. Like, I mean, how do you think this would rank on the Global Press Freedom Index in terms of the other countries? I mean, I know they're no longer their own country, apparently. Now they're CHOP. But, like, how do you think this would rank as compared to China and North Korea and Russia and all these other countries on the Journalistic Press Freedom Index? Because you know about that, right?
Yeah. I mean, it felt like I was like in China, man, because the thing is, it's like you're allowed. There's
a government official chasing you down, like, saying, hey, wait, no filming that. What are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the thing is, it's like they'll let you do your thing, man, if you're on their side. So if you're there saying, obviously following their message, you're asking softball questions, you're not trying to challenge anyone politically, obviously they'll let you do your thing, but they know that I focus more on I'm trying to get the truth out there, man, and no one is talking about small business owners getting attacked, people getting attacked, journalists getting beat up, all that stuff. There's like kids walking around, Vince, and like people are doing drugs, people are on like hardcore drugs and all this stuff. So it's just a weird thing to see in society. I know if you go on Twitter or online, a lot of people are like, oh, you know what, just let it die out or stop giving it media attention, and then eventually it'll go away. I'm more in the phase, man, where is like you're actually giving these people victories by letting it happen for so long, because now you're letting them know, you're telling them, hey, you could do this in other parts of the country and you could get away with it. If it's already inspiring other autonomous zones I heard across the U.S.
Yeah,
and I think it's just a bad precedent going on for the future. And to see Jay Inslee, the governor of Washington, just let this to even go on as long as it is, it's honestly quite embarrassing for the government.
There's nothing more anti-fascist than censoring the free press. Absolutely not. But I mean, you're absolutely right. It is definitely inspiring a lot of like other, autonomous zones across the country. I've actually just been of the opinion that we should just send all the people who want to riot to go live in this autonomous zone, and just send all the people across the country, send them to CHAZ, send them to CHOP, and they can just stay there and leave everyone alone. But you also have a good point that like you just can't let this happen, and I didn't understand that point. But I also just think, well, you know what? Either they destroy our area or they make their own country and destroy their own country. But anyway, speaking of their own country or their own thing, how do they sustain themselves? Like, what's the sanitation like? How do they get their food? I saw they have a garden. How does CHAZ, how does CHOP sustain itself? And does the United States and the UN need to airlift in food for humanitarian purposes?
We're not there yet, but being on the ground, me and Elijah were just asking everyone, how are you guys getting all these supplies and stuff? And according to them, it's just a bunch of donations from people all over the country. I guess they're getting flooded in with some donations and supplies. But if you walk around,
so foreign aid, right? Yeah.
Yes. So foreign aid by all these other government actors who are supplying our U.S. enemy technically. So we might need to cut off some supply chains to some countries. But yeah. So I mean, basically, when you walk around CHAZ, the word you can always hear around is free. Everything is free. But it's coming in from somewhere. According to them, it's donations from people across the country. It's a bunch of mixed messages, even on the ground. The goal is not clear of CHAZ. You have people who are literally just there to smoke and drink and do drugs and are just kind of happy that cops can't go in. You have then like a bunch of white liberals who are trying to take it over for their own agenda and I feel guilty for being white and are trying to rub every black man's feet and things like that. And then you have, you still have your Black Lives Matter people who are there for according to them for Black Lives Matter, even though I don't know how CHAZ is contributing to their message. And then, like I said, then you have Antifa, who's kind of taking advantage of this whole situation. Being on the ground, we were able to confirm that the security on the ground is John Brown Gun Club. And according to my poll, a lot of people reached out to me on social media and said they had some type of ties to Antifa. I still need to do some more research on that. But But if you guys hear John Brown Gun Club, just know that that's some type of left-wing organization, that it is tied with this Antifa stuff. But like I said, Vince, if you went down, Vince, you and me, and we asked 10 people what's the goal of CHAZ, we're literally going to hear 10 different answers. And I think that's a huge issue they're facing, is there's no clear leadership. It's just such a mess. I'm actually surprised they've even able to sustain themselves this long.
Hey, at the United States, we had the Articles of Confederation at first, and it didn't really work out. But we had the Constitution, we fixed it up. So maybe CHAZ or CHOP or whatever can actually get together as a new nation. Last few questions here. What's the craziest single? Well, I guess you could name a few things, but what are some of the craziest single events you witnessed in CHAZ? I know there's a naked man who was clearly on drugs running down the street, so that was one thing. But what are some of the craziest things you saw?
Yeah, so we had a naked man running. I think the craziest thing, or maybe just I guess the most interesting thing, is we met a guy his name is Gandalf. He literally looked like the dude from Lord of the Rings. He had this huge crystal ball, and I think out of all the things that we saw, man, that was probably just the most unique thing. If you went to go talk to that guy, he had such a great energy. But yeah, Mr. Gandalf, bro, he had like a 400-pound crystal ball, just walking around CHAZ, and that's I guess that just sums up CHAZ for everybody.
But so there's Gandalf the Wizard. And tell me about this naked man, because that went pretty viral. I don't know if it got taken down. I can't show it on YouTube. But there's this guy butt naked, just running and talking about the end of days or something. Tell me about this guy. Yes, you got this guy running naked, and Kalen from Scriber News actually got really close to this guy. He did like a one-on-one interview almost where he's running naked, and he's just like, "Yo, how's CHAZ going?" He's like, "You loving it?" He says, and he's just screaming back. He's like, "I love it, man. No rules, no rules." And at the end of the day, no clothes.
That's the type of place it is. There's no rules. People running around naked. People are doing drugs in front of kids. It's a free for all down there, man. So whoever goes down there, I would say, definitely stay safe, watch your back, and maybe bring a joint to pass out. It might save you from a fight from these people.
Definitely. What do the people of Seattle think of this? I mean, I'm not sure if you talked to any of the local residents when you were, in your hotel and stuff, but what the hell does the city think of this?
So the cool thing, man, is with the Daily Call, we were able to do a couple of sit-down interviews with actually locals in Seattle. And a lot of the folks are just really disappointed that the far left movement has really taken over Seattle. According to some of the locals, life is getting so hectic for them. They're getting doxxed. They have to basically keep everything. So if you're conservative, I mean, it's so hard to even do anything in Seattle socially. We were talking to one conservative who said that he was at a bar, and just because he was talking about the homeless problem in Seattle, he didn't even say anything too crazy. He just said, hey, we have a little bit too much homeless situation in Seattle. He is now banned from a bar for life. He gets doxxed at work. I also spoke to a woman named Katie Davis-Court. She was actually the woman carrying the American flag in the video. But before that moment, we did a sit-down interview with her, and she was just very upset of just seeing that the town get taken over, and basically far leftists kind of just get away with what's going on in the state of Washington. They feel like they're not being represented, and they really, for them, for Republicans in Washington, they actually want to see Trump intervene. It's a big deal for them. I think for them it's like a symbolic meaning, and they just feel like their state has now been taken over. They're not represented. I know a couple of people in city council in Seattle and other cities actually do have socialists elected on board. So I think that's a huge thing that's happening there that's not being talked about. But basically, Vince, the common message I hear from everyone is we are not represented here no longer. This is not our state. We don't know what to do. And they basically want Trump to intervene. For them, this has gone way too long. We're already headed into another weekend, man, and these people still have control of it. I haven't seen any really fight back from Seattle. But that's really the common thing, Vince, is that these folks don't feel like they're being heard. They're not represented at all in government at the local level.
So you think a move by Trump to intervene and take out CHAZ, you think you're getting this perception to be very popular in the area?
For conservatives in Washington and regular folks that are not even into politics. I was just talking to folks that are not even into politics, like, yo, we just do not like what's going on. To them, I think they kept telling me that it would be meaningful and symbolic for Trump to come in there and actually do something and fight back for them. And hopefully, Vince, with that, obviously we don't want business to be getting attacked, but for me to at least capture that business being attacked on Sunday night, we hope with videos like that we could put pressure on government officials to say, hey, hey, thank God that business owner, man, that they were armed, bro. But not everyone is armed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to be outnumbered. What are they going to do when they call the cops? They're literally dying. And one thing I want to mention really quick, Vince, is our one of our journalist friends, Kaylin from Scarborough News. He was assaulted Sunday night and had to run a whole mile just to call Seattle PD for them to finally do something about it. That should be a shame to the government that my friend Kaylin, he can't even do his job of reporting. This guy literally doesn't even ask questions. He literally just turns the camera on and is just documenting stuff.
Yeah.
He literally got assaulted. They almost chased him down, almost stole his phone away so they could delete what he recorded. And he had to run literally a whole mile away from the CHAZ area just to have some help from Seattle PD. And I think stuff like that, Seattle PD, local government should be ashamed of themselves.
Absolutely. As I said at the beginning of this interview, nothing more anti-fascist than censoring free press. Anyways, Jorge, great work. Hope you had a fun time in CHAZ. I know as the day of this is airing, you're going to be heading to Atlanta to cover riots and protests there. You're doing a lot of great work. But thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for the time.
Oh, yeah, Vince. Thank you, bro.
So we can assume at a slower rate, but probably in the coming future, the American cities will start to look like CHAZ, the whole city. As the abolished police movement grows, as cops walk off the job, that is the future of our country. Well, not necessarily of our country. Of course, the rural areas will still have law enforcement and armed American patriots because, the rural areas know what they're doing. But the cities will be an utter and complete disaster. Here's one quick question. Assuming there is law enforcement after this, what will law enforcement look like after all the good cops have walked off the job, which is what has happened? All of the good cops have walked off of the job. Given that the new standard is you will face life in prison for defending yourself as a cop, who would want to be a cop? What good, sane, rational person would want to be a cop? Who in the hell would ever want to have a job where you're underpaid badly, you're constantly vilified by the public, you're in perpetual physical danger, and if you try to defend yourself when you're in danger, you get thrown in jail for murder? What sane, rational person? We're always talking about good cops and bad cops. What good person in this country would want to be a cop? What sane, rational person would want to be a cop? No, don't get me wrong. I'm sure, and I really hope that there still are good people who want to be a cop after this. But honestly, for the majority of cases, you'd have to be freaking insane, irrationally insane, if you want to be a cop right now. So what will future generations of the police academy look like? Well, they're going to be filled with a bunch of crazy, irrational, possibly not morally good people filling up the police academy. Then what will police brutality look like? Well, I'll tell you one thing. Once all the good cops have left and have been replaced by bad cops, it's going to look a hell of a lot worse. Then, of course, the mob, the cultural revolution, the Black Lives Matter movement will, of course, blame law enforcement and systemic racism when in reality, it is they that caused all the good cops to walk off the job. Unfortunately. But that's just how it is. And given that will happen, I'm sure Black Lives Matter won't be far off from managing to make the entire country look like CHAZ or CHOP. Look like what we just talked about. It's coming. It's coming. And I don't know what to do. But it's coming. Truly fun times, huh? It's a really great direction the mob is clearly trying to take the rest of our country. Absolutely fantastic. Once again, this is the evil, this is the insanity that Republicans, I will again say, are complacent in. And it's not conservative voters by any means. Like, literally all of us are out here saying we're so disappointed in your leadership. Take a damn stand, please. It's just leadership. Poor leadership from everyone. Because why? Because we don't want to piss off the media? You've already pissed off the media. The media's already out to get you. So what's the point? Because somehow you think that appeasing the mob will make things better? The mob will never be appeased. The mob will never be satisfied until this country is destroyed. And all of Western civilization is destroyed. And we know that. Republicans know that. Contrary to the Democrats who seem to think that the contrary, Republicans actually know that. So why do we even spend time appeasing the mob? And by the way, I'm not talking. People are going to think this might be referring to President Trump's police reform this week. I'm not talking about that. That was a great. That was great reform that didn't actually weaken the police. It was good policy. That I think the majority of the country, even the law and order people, would like to see after, the tragic murder of George Floyd, the disgusting murder of George Floyd. Okay, so the police reform this week was great. But where is the other stuff? You know what I mean? Where's the other stuff? It is sad that I can say that the only accomplishment that President Trump has made during all this chaos is police reform. And I guess sending the National Guard to Minneapolis, that was the one thing I will give him credit for. But see, we need freaking more. You can absolutely, okay, and people don't seem to realize this. You can absolutely implement common sense police reform that the majority of the country wants to see while taking a stand for law and order. Okay, they are not mutually exclusive. You can actually stop the chaos while implementing common sense policy regarding police reform. They're not mutually exclusive. But do them. Do them. Anyways, it's just absolutely ridiculous to me. I mean, look at what the media is doing this week. You really think you can appease the media? The media has literally made friends with John Bolton, literally like one of the worst guys ever. This guy. I mean, honestly, I would like to see this guy put on trial for war crimes, just for the hell of it. Okay, John Bolton, one of the worst people ever, like universally despised in this country. And the media has put him up on a pedestal, because he's writing a book that probably contains illegally contains classified information. That is frankly full of lies. Like some of the lies that they've said in this book are straight up so false. Like you can just tell the asshole is lying. But like claims like, Trump asked President Xi for help in the 2020 election. Yeah, freaking right. Yeah, freaking right. Okay, you think yeah, because China would totally want to help the president who's actually righting the wrongs on trade and actually trying to balance trade with China. Yeah, freaking right. So John Bolton's an idiot. John Bolton's a clown. But there goes my point. What the hell? Why the hell are you even wasting your time trying to oppose the mob or the media? They hate you. You're not going to gain a single voter out of the mob because you signed a good police reform. Because they don't want good police reform. They want to abolish the police. And they know that. And they've said that. So why do we even try? I'm not saying don't sign the police reform. What I am saying is that stop the soft rhetoric. Stop saying, you know what? I think America might actually be systemic. Stop it. Take a hardline stance. I'm telling you, the few Republicans that actually take a hard stance for law and order, that actually show some balls, some guts, they will win in November. Unfortunately, at the rate that Republicans are going, I don't think a lot of Republicans are going to win in November. So it's just sad to see. Just sad to see. We're doing a little bit of a shorter show this week because, as you might have already noticed, this show is pre-recorded. I'm doing that because of internet problems in my area. I just couldn't trust it to do a good live stream. So we'll be wrapping up the main segments of this show soon. But I want to close out. I definitely didn't forget. Okay, don't worry. Today is indeed Juneteenth. Celebrates the emancipation of the slaves in this country. One of the days. And I want to to really give you some words and be able to celebrate this day with you all. American and look, the mob has taken over this day. Okay, The mob has exploited, hijacked the day of Juneteenth from American patriots into their own narrative about, America being systemically racist and all this crap. Like, you see the protests today. Don't get me wrong, many of these marches are peaceful celebrations, but let's be honest, the mob is infiltrating them. But I hope we can have an honest celebration about Juneteenth. What exactly Juneteenth celebrates? America, from its beginning, was founded off the premise that all men are created equal. Was founded off the premise of liberty and justice for all. But America was never perfect. No country is perfect, but America has never been perfect in, implementing liberty and justice for all, ensuring that all men are born and created equal. But we have tried. And we have fought hard, and we have certainly come a long way. Juneteenth celebrates a historic landmark, a huge landmark in the fight to deliver freedom and justice for all. And I gotta say, on a day like Juneteenth, I couldn't be more proud of my country. And don't get me wrong, this fight is not over. It is a long fight, and it is an ongoing fight. We will never stop fighting as Americans until there truly is liberty and justice for all. But at the same time, we have to sit back and for a moment on a day like this and celebrate the progress we've made. The emancipation of the slaves. That is a huge step in the fight by this country. People laid down their life to fight for this country, to ensure that liberty and justice for all, that equality under the law, that all men being created equal would one day become the reality in this country. We certainly still aren't perfect, but we've come a damn long way. God bless America. And God bless all the people who fought and died to make sure that the morally abhorrent British institution of slavery would finally be abolished in the United States. This is in stark contrast to the message of the mob today. The mob today uses Juneteenth as evidence that America must be systemically racist, that America is an evil country because look at it, it had slavery. No. As I said earlier in the show, every country, virtually every civilization, at least, in some point in their history, had the institution of slavery. Slavery was never unique to the United States. But I am proud that America fought to end slavery. Sure, it took almost 80 years too long. But at the end of the day, hundreds of thousands of people laid down their lives to fight slavery, to end slavery. Today is the day for American patriotism, not American self-hatred, not American loathing, not people burning the American flag, not these thugs, not these terrorists. Today is a day of American patriotism, freedom and justice for all. All men are created equal. Today is a celebration, not a mourning, not a day to angrily protest and beat up on our fellow citizens. No. So as we celebrate the emancipation of the slaves, God bless America. 100%. Anyways, that'll close out the main segment of the show. So in replacement of a Q&A session, because obviously the show is not live, so we couldn't, do a Q&A session this week, I did a little Q&A, a little chat with my Discord server. By the way, make sure you guys join my Discord server. Link will be in the description. And so that replaces this week's start of Q&A 3-hour segment. I don't know if this show is going to fully reach the 3 hours. It'll probably come kind of close. But here's the final segment of tonight's show. All right. All right, what is going on, guys? We've entered, this should probably be close to the 3rd hour of the show, but I am live right now with members of my own Discord server. I guess since we can't do a Q&A this week because the show is not live, this is just our little bonus session to talk to you guys, have a lot of fun. If you guys want to be in one of these streams, join my Discord server, okay? I'll probably put the link in the description. You can find it on my fan page because we're probably going to be doing this again at some point. But anyways, hello to the Discord server. We've got Chevy in here, Amon, and Edward. Why don't you guys go around in the circle and introduce yourself? How you guys doing? You guys doing good?
Yeah, what's up, guys? I'm doing great. This is epic.
All right, Edward, you're on the side of a highway right now, it appears. So tell me what's going on there.
Yes, I am on the side of a highway, the pinnacle of American infrastructure engineering. Unfortunately, there is one major pitfall to this system, and that is the speed limit. It is terrible. It is far too slow, and places like Germany, which have abolished the speed limit on many of its autobahns, have a 30% likelihood compared to America of dying on the road per capita, because going faster is better and safer, because you have less time to get in a car crash. It's just science. Wouldn't you agree with me, expert?
I agree with everything you said. Expert, you're a fan.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. That is the police reform I do support. Get rid of the damn speed limits. Okay, they don't keep anyone safe. The cops just pull people over for going like 5 over the speed limit, when in reality, most of the drivers that drive safe are the ones that actually, the drivers that drive fast are the ones that actually drive safe. Whereas it's usually the slow drivers in a damn Priuses that don't know how to drive. So Edward, I 100% agree with you. We should get rid of speed limits, just make it like the Autobahn. The Autobahn's actually one of the safest roads in the world because everyone knows how to go fast. Anyways, Amon, you are yet to introduce yourself, so why don't you go and do that?
Hello everyone, I'm Amon, and I just moderate the Discord server.
Yeah, nice to see you. I see Chevy's got the flag of my autonomous zone.
Yes, I do.
Up there. I think we're probably going to do a segment earlier at this point in the show, already talking about my island. But Chevy, why don't you give the rundown of my island? Actually, I'm going to share the screen right now.
Okay. Yeah, so Eddie actually claimed an island first, and I got the idea to make you an island a few days ago. So we got this thing, and yeah, it got a lot bigger than I thought. So we're making a flag for it now and stuff, and it's pretty cool. Yeah. It's got tons of reviews.
Check out these reviews. The perfect Gerald King rates Vince Dao Island the perfect hangout place for Trump supporters, Vince Daoists, Republicans, conservatives, anti-Chinese Communist Party activists, and capitalists. To put it short, human beings who actually act based on logic and care for the individual. Yes, perfect. 100% agree. Molly, thank you for the 5-star review. Molly says, finally, a safe space we can all believe in. Jackson, best island of them all. A lot of great reviews. Thank you very much. If you guys are watching this right now, make sure you go on Google Maps and leave a positive review for my island. I don't know why Google says there's only one review when there are clearly several reviews here, all great reviews of the island. Brennan, thank you for the 10-star review. Vince Dao is a grateful man. He gives us milk in the morning. That is not true. I'm not sure what Slazer 360 is talking about, but definitely. The amenities on this island are the American dream. Thank you very much. 10 out of 10. Okay, this is epic, 100%. Anyways, guys, so I guess this will serve as our Q&A session. So, Discord members, if you guys have questions for me, anything you guys want to talk about, want me to discuss, shoot, go for it.
All right, cool. I don't think there's even any questions in our Q&A thing. Eddie, do you have any questions?
I'm trying to think of a very good question, but I am struggling.
Okay, while you wait, hold on. While you wait for that, I want to thank Eli. Eli gave me a 4-star review. I'm not sure what's wrong with him. Where's the 5 stars? But he says, reminds me of Yosemite when he used to go. Younger, but still not as nice. Okay, that's not very nice. I think my island is far superior to Yosemite, but it says if you enjoy Yosemite, this is the place for you. Thank you very much for the mediocre review. But I love these fantastic reviews 100%. Vince Dao Island stands for freedom. Go America, MAGA. Awesome. So how have you guys been? I know you guys all live in different places. I think some of you guys even live in Canada. But how has the anti-cop movement sweeping the world really been like treating you guys?
Honestly, I haven't even noticed it right now, but I've been home all day, so.
Are there like protests where you live?
Yeah, but they're not really like big. Nothing violent either. So.
All right, that's good. That's good to hear. Definitely good to hear.
Yeah. So
Edward, do you have a question for me yet? Okay. Okay.
All right. So, as we all know, the government has put in place counter-cyclical fiscal policy in the form of stimulus checks. Do you think this will be able to sustain the economy? Because the coronavirus is indeed an aggregate supply shock and not an aggregate demand shock.
Yeah, no, it will definitely not be able to sustain the economy. First of all, they are small checks, but the idea that you can just stimulate and stimulate and stimulate the economy and stuff, like there is no substitute for an open economy. Stimulus checks, they might do a little bit to help in the short term, but this idea that Democrats have and have had, and at least they're kind of backing off on now, but this idea that they've had, which is that, oh, we can just print a bunch of money, we can just put out all these stimulus bills, stimulus checks, and just somehow that's gonna like keep the economy alive, is just false. The more and if you give too many stimulus checks, the inflation's gonna go off the roof. Okay, and my prediction is in a few months we're gonna be hit by crazy inflation in this country because of all the damn stimulus, all the debt we've accumulated out of this coronavirus stuff. So no, definitely not a permanent solution. I guess it was a necessary fix, it definitely was a necessary fix. Just in the short term, people need a little bit of money, but we need to reopen the economy. That's the only solution. Even Dr. Fauci today said we need to reopen the economy. So 100%.
Do you think that this money would have been better spent in the form of government spending for infrastructure, such as this here beautiful highway?
Well, okay. The not necessarily, because I think the point of the stimulus check was simply to give people like temporary relief. Like people need food. Like a lot of people were on the brink, and I'm not saying $1,200 to save their lives, but a lot of people were on the brink. They needed food. They were out of a job. They needed something. And the infrastructure would have been a long-term sort of thing. But I think a lot of if we are going to do another stimulus bill after this, we definitely need to focus on infrastructure and long-term recovery for the economy, not so much short-term bailing out corporations, bailing out small businesses, paycheck protection, or stimulus checks for people.
Sure, but because the government has given it to the people with no determination of what they will do with their money, everyone has a propensity to save, which means that not all of this money has gone back into the economy, and the money multiplier that could have been from something like government spending has not have its full potential because people are saving it, putting in saving accounts into banks.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good point, but I think that's part of why the government only aimed these checks as people making under 75,000. What I think they should have done with a check is only send it to people who have lost their job. Like, I think that makes sense. Like, because let's say someone's a teacher and they make like 60 grand a year, but they're a teacher, they work for the government, so their job isn't going anywhere, or they're, like a police officer or a firefighter, anyone who is still working during this time. I think the check should have gone to someone who is unemployed, because they're not going to be able to save it. They need to spend it, right? They need to spend it because they need to get food or pay their rent, so that money will be spent. I think it was a bad idea to just say, oh, people under 75 grand, everyone gets a check, because a lot of people who make under 75 grand have jobs where their hours are not being cut, or they're still able to work. And that's definitely a problem that we sent it to people. Like, yeah, their inclination, if you're still working, is, hey, I might spend a little bit of this, but a lot of this I'm just going to save it. I'll put it toward my 401k or my rainy day fund or whatever. So I think what they should have done is send it to only people who are unemployed, because the people who are financially struggling, they're going to need to spend it in the economy because they need food, they need rent, etc.
A very good point. And here I've got my friend here who has a little bit of a story about this unemployment thing.
So do you think that the $600 a week increase to unemployment is a good solution to the fiscal challenges people of this country are facing?
Not at this point. Because we've had a huge problem because the unemployment benefits are so high. We've had a huge problem where people don't want to go back to work because their unemployment benefits are higher than the wages they are being paid. So I definitely don't think increasing unemployment benefits is the answer. We're in a state now in the economy, and we're lucky about this. We're definitely lucky about this, but we're in a state now in the economy where a lot of the businesses are reopening and you can go back to work. It is possible now once again to find a job, and obviously some people are going to fall through the cracks and we should have unemployment benefits, but I don't think raising them definitely is the solution. What we've seen during this coronavirus pandemic is that unemployment benefits have actually been stopping people from going back to work. They just want to sit there and suck up all the unemployment benefits possible before they're able to go back to work. And that's definitely a problem, a huge problem.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely become unmotivated workers. They're no longer searching for jobs. So do you think that we should decrease the benefits? What do you think the solution here should be?
Well, I think unemployment benefits, like, I don't know that the ins and outs necessarily of the unemployment benefit system, but I don't think you should be able to make more off of unemployment than you did at your regular job. And I think that's definitely the answer. And I think like if your previous place of business is open now and you just refuse to go back to work because you want to collect the unemployment benefits, then we should have a way that we can strip those unemployment benefits for you, because it's not that it's not that you're unable to go back to work. It's just that you don't want to go back to work so you can collect these unemployment benefits. There definitely needs to be more accountability. But this is the problem with anything that is a government bureaucracy, right? There's no accountability. It's a mess. Usually there's like a fundamental flaw with it, such as the benefits are so high that people aren't going back to work. And honestly, I don't know enough about the system to give you like a sound fix on that solution, but I can definitely say that like there are huge problems with the system.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree with you. Government is not the most efficient, provider of any service. If you ask me, it should be 100% capitalism. Everybody is based on the profit motive. I think everything would be much more efficient that way.
Definitely.
We could have insurance for unemployment, some system like that. I think it would be beautiful.
All right. Well, that's definitely a respectable opinion to have. Any of you other guys have questions or talking points or anything? Amon, Chevy?
We got some questions from the Discord, actually.
Yeah, go ahead. Read them off.
So Waluigi wants a status update on Vince Dao Island. We kind of did that already, I guess.
Well, I guess we can go through a few more. Vince Dao Island's being flooded with 5-star reviews. Actually, I forgot who it was, but I have a follower apparently who lives near Vince Dao Island. Said when he gets a license, he lives in Amherst, Massachusetts.
Yes.
And said that he's gonna head out there at some point.
Oh,
so
we need drone footage. We need drone footage so bad.
we need, but we need someone to take a boat to the island and plant the stack. Okay,
Yes.
You got to claim it. We got to claim it before Lance Videos or Adi Bonti or any of those guys claim it. All right, we got to be the first ones because they could steal the island from us theoretically.
Hey, it's gonna be tough. I'm pretty sure it's a nature reserve, but we got to sneak in there.
Who cares about laws anymore? Okay?
Yeah,
Have you seen the
exactly.
streets of this country?
True. Okay, another question.
All right.
Another question. Update on your school situation.
Update on my school situation. Situation's being handled fine for me personally, but I am most concerned, and I keep telling people this is where we need to fight. My far left cop-hating teachers union, I talked about this last week, is trying to take school police out of schools. They're literally trying to abolish the LA School Police Department. No solution as to what those cops are going to be able to work at. But yeah, they've literally just exploited the death of George Floyd to push their far left cop-hating agenda. They want to abolish school police because police brutality or something like that. The thing is, whatever their problem is with LAPD, and it's bogus, but whatever their problem is with LAPD, that's not the same as school police. School police is a separate department, and they're specifically trained to deal with kids. They've never really had a history of brutality or frisking any kid to the ground or anything like that. Like, no. Like, school police are so mellow. That's the stereotype. The stereotype is they're like such the most mellow, nice people out there. Aside from everything else, let's talk about the pure practicality of it. Number one, obviously, just taking police out of schools makes every school a soft target for school shootings. It is absolutely ridiculous. And it's a travesty that so many teachers and the teachers union as a whole claim to have stood with the premise of March for Our Lives, which is that that's not the real premise of March for Our Lives, but the supposed premise of March for Our Lives, which was that we need safer schools. There were many students who walked out those days, not necessarily because they cared about any type of gun policy, but simply that they wanted safer schools. Like, people don't realize this. Many students were just walking out for safer schools. And now the far left teachers union is exploiting the death of George Floyd to push a radical cop-hating agenda that is going to put a lot of students in danger. But the thing is, okay, let's say there's some dispute at school that requires police officers. LA school police are specifically designed to deal with kids. So they're trained to deal with kids. And so LA school police are going to show restraint. But what happens if you put a regular police officer in there? They're not going to show as much restraint. They're a regular police officer because they're dealing with ordinary people on the street. And a regular police officer is far more inclined to abuse kids, to enact police brutality in a school than, a regular, they're the school police are the ones that are going to show restraint. When you let regular LAPD deal with problems in schools that need police, you are far more likely to have violence. So it's just moronic. Okay, it is moronic what the teachers union is doing. They've never truly represented the teachers at all. The teachers, in fact, are very disgruntled with this. The teachers and just school administrators in general definitely support having cops, school police in school. And it's just ridiculous what the teachers union is doing. Anyways, if you guys want to help with my school situation, what you need to do is you can find it. You need to contact any of the board members, whatever you want, because any of them helps. Contact the school board members of LAUSD, and tell them to keep school police in our schools. And if you want, you can take it straight to the union. Contact the president, vice president, and all the officers of UTLA, United Teachers Los Angeles. That's the teachers union for my school, for my district. Contact them and let them know that this cop-hating agenda to take cops out of schools is absolutely ridiculous. Anyways, we got a new person in this stream. Say hello to Dallas Johnson. He's right here. Dallas Johnson, welcome to the Discord chat live. Hold on. How do I... So I could do this, I could do that. Anyways, Dallas, you have to introduce yourself. Say hi. What's up, man?
Welcome to the
Is he here?
stream, Dallas.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you're lagging. I don't know if that's
Hear
my
me?
end or your end. Yeah, I can hear you.
Good.
There's just delay. Yeah, it's good though.
It's
All right, Dallas.
on my end.
It's all right. We can hear you. Anyways, Dallas, we're doing a Q&A right now. So any questions you got for me, we can chat, have fun, talk about a certain topic, whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm down.
Is he there? Oh, go ahead. Go
I don't have
ahead.
any questions right now, but
All right. Anyways, what state I know some of you guys are from Canada and stuff, but what state are all of you guys from, or what area are you guys from? We'll go around in a circle. We'll start with you, Chevy.
I'm from Massachusetts. I'm actually 50 minutes from Vince Dao Island, so it's pretty epic.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta print out a flag. I'll pay for it. Make a flag. We definitely gotta plant it on Vince Dao Island. All right.
All right.
The nature reserve people are gonna be like, "What the hell?" But
I'm gonna go at nighttime, so I don't get arrested. This is gonna be epic.
Oh, come on. There's no police. Just plain police brutality. It's easy.
True.
All right, Aman, you're from Canada, correct? He's got his mic off. Aman says he'll be back. Okay. Eddie's from Springfield. Was it Massachusetts, correct?
I don't live in Springfield because I'm not sketchy. I live in a suburb.
But in Massachusetts, right? Anyways, Dallas, where are you from?
I'm from Canada.
You're from Canada.
Alberta, which is probably one of the most conservative.
Yeah, I've heard that about Alberta. Alberta's
yeah.
Alberta's very red-pilled. That's awesome. I did not realize I had so many Canadian followers. I should probably stop making fun of Canada, because that's kind of mean. Then if I have a lot of Canadian followers, I've always just assumed all my followers were from America.
Well,
but
I actually stumbled upon.
Yeah. I never realized I had that many international people, but that's
Canada's
awesome.
always make fun of. We're used to it.
Yeah. Aman is from Canada. Dallas is from Canada. I know a few other people from Canada. So that's pretty awesome. Any of you guys have questions for me or things you want to hear me talk about?
Yeah, I think we got one from
Chevy,
the Discord again. Yeah, Waluigi wants you to tell a joke.
So here's a classic Vince Dao joke. A photon walks into a hotel, and the guy there asks, "Do you need help with your bags?" The photon says, "No, I'm traveling light." So that's a classic Vince Dao joke. I have some classic Vince Dao pickup lines, like, "Hey, baby, don't tread on me, tread with me," or "Did you say hi to Ronald Reagan before you fell from heaven?" There's another one. Since this is the bonus segment, one thing I will.
Well, I do have a question for you, Vince.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you pay attention to global politics at all?
Casually.
Is there any other country that you're politics that you're interested in?
Casually, I guess the second most country I sort of pay attention to is Britain. I think Canada then would be third. I'm honestly not that involved with Canadian politics, but I keep up with the Brits a little bit. I think a lot of reasons I do that is because the Brits are sort of the future of America. It always happens that way. Britain's more liberal than us. We're always headed in a more liberal direction. So I look at Britain and I'm like, okay, if we don't fight, then that's what our future looks like. But Britain, you know, they've turned conservative again for their own standards. So that's good. But I usually look to Britain as that's the liberal future we have in store for us, unfortunately.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Like, I tend to pay attention to like Japanese politics a little bit and South Korean politics because I have friends in those countries, so I gotta keep up too. Because I worry about them. I want to make sure they're going to be okay.
That's just. Do they have like a right and left
Honestly,
sort of
I pay
idea over
attention
there?
a lot to American politics because
Yeah, keep going.
yes and no. Like, Japan has, like, for example, they have a conservative party. I don't know the name for it. They also have like a couple of different left-leaning parties, and like a communist. They legit have a communist party.
Oh yeah, they know they do. I know that.
In Korea, I think it's more similar to America.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they have like the conservative party and then like the left-leaning party. And right now in Korea, the left-leaning party is in charge.
Well, that sucks. Maybe that's why Kim Jong-un is bullying them, because it's like whenever leftists are in power, the foreign enemies always seem to bully you. That seems to be a very common trend. So maybe that's something to do with it. Aman, welcome back. How you doing, sir?
I'm
doing good. Just had to eat dinner.
Aman, do you have? All right, that's nice. You got any questions for me or anything?
I'm not sure if you mentioned this already, but what's your opinion on the Rayshard Brooks case?
Okay, the Rayshard Brooks case. Yeah, I will have done, by the time we're talking about this, I will have done a segment earlier in the show about it. But I'll bring it up again because it's very relevant. Okay, what is happening to these cops is just a travesty and a total perversion of justice if I've ever seen one. And of course, we should point out it's being led by a far left DA who is being accused of funneling hundreds of thousands of dollars from nonprofits to himself. So he's accused of blatant political corruption, and he didn't win his election, his re-election. He's off into a runoff election. So that's definitely why he's doing this, trying to divert focus. He's trying to pander to the mob so he can win his election. But we're just talking hard justice. It is a total travesty. I mean, let's just start first of all, before we talk about the case, let's first of all point out by saying this guy, which this never happens, and it's not supposed to happen. He already brought felony murder charges to the table before the investigation was done. The investigation into the case is not even done. The far left corrupt mono-funneling DA is already bringing murder charges to the table. But just if you look at the case itself, okay, the same DA acknowledged this only like a week ago, that Georgia state law states that a taser is classified as a firearm, and if it is fired at you, it constitutes deadly force. That's Georgia state law. The DA just last week, and this is what's so dystopian about all of this, the DA just last week stated that he was going to fire these cops for using a taser inappropriately because he defined a taser as deadly force. And then all of a sudden, in this case, the DA has said that that Rayshard Brooks acted jovial. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Like he didn't act in an aggressive manner whatsoever. So I guess wrestling cops, grabbing the weapon, punching them in the face, and firing a deadly weapon by Georgia state law at them does not constitute aggressive behavior. But it's just an absolute travesty what has happened in this case. It's a perversion of justice. It really makes me lose hope for justice in this country, because the fact that we are letting the mob dictate justice in our country, I sure as hell hope he gets let off not guilty. But at this rate, I don't even know what's going to happen. But I sure as hell, because this has happened before, by the way. We should point this out. There have been instances in past years, and Tucker Carlson did a great segment on this just last night on his show. There have been instances in past years where cops have shot suspects that have fired the taser at them, and in every single case, the cops have been let off free because and still allowed to keep their jobs, because that is police policy and common sense. If a taser, which is a deadly weapon, is fired at you, that is deadly force, and you have a right to respond to deadly force with deadly force. So it's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, this rule never existed before. It was literally just made up for this case because the nation is so angry. On a normal year where this thing didn't happen, there would be no outrage over this whatsoever. But it's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, everything that Black Lives Matter is saying about this case is wrong. Firstly, They tried to say that Rayshard Brooks was simply sleeping in a parked car. That's not true. He was sleeping in a running car in the middle of a crowded, active drive-through, and that's the reason. That's the reason why the cops tried to make an arrest for DUI when they found that he was drunk. Not because a lot of people say, well, they should have let him walk home. He could have walked home. Okay, the reason why they made the arrest was because, not because if he was sleeping in his parked car, then you could never prove that he was actually drinking while driving. He could have gotten drunk once he parked the car, and then that'd be fine, right? But he was in a running car. That means he was drunk while driving, totally guilty of DUI. It's a standard arrest, and then Rayshard Brooks resisted arrest. He wrestled away from the only criticism I have of the cops, by the way, in this case, is that they should have never let Brooks take control like that. They should have never. And I will concede that an innocent, that a man is now dead because of the fact that the cops couldn't take control of the situation. I do have that criticism of the cops. But Rayshard Brooks wrestled these guys. He resisted arrest. He punched the officers in the face, grabbed their weapon, and fired it at them. And somehow Black Lives Matter is trying to say that it was a murder. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Total mishandlement of justice. It's a disgrace to our country that this is. It's, by the way, also a disgrace to our country that the cold-blooded murder of David Dorn is getting less attention than this very arguably justified killing. So it's ridiculous. Anyways, any other more?
Right, I agree.
Yeah.
With everything you said, I agree.
Aman, what do you think of the case? You're the one who asked me the question.
Yeah, so basically, I pretty much agree with you. The cops shouldn't have let it escalate to that point.
Definitely not. Yeah.
Trained to like not have the victim take control, but then the victim also shouldn't have taken control of it. He should have cooperated with the authorities. He took the taser and tried to point it at the cops and stuff.
If you actually look at the video, he appears to have fired the taser too. Like you can see the smoke come off of the taser or the sparks or whatever, you know, the flash comes out of the taser. So it's very much, and the cop stumbles over. So it very much appears like, yes, you should have fired the taser at the cop too. That's the thing.
Yeah, I didn't see that. But now knowing that, like, the police are definitely in the right here. Like, there's no argument against it.
Yeah, the only argument is that it's a white cop killing a black person, and apparently, anytime that happens in America, it must be a racist murder. There cannot be any other justification whatsoever. It's ridiculous. Anyways, I just thought of this since Chevy has my beautiful glory, one of my beautiful glorious flags up. I'm going to go, and the live chat can discuss this right now, even though I can't see the live chat right now. Live chat can discuss this. What do you guys think is the best flag for Vince Dao Island? I'm going to go on Dao right now, by the way. You guys should follow this fan page of mine. It is epic. It is based. It is amazing. They post so much great content. But here are the proposed flags for the glorious republic of Vince Dao Islands in the middle of Amherst, Massachusetts. So, since I now have my own autonomous zone, my own country, we got to choose a flag. So here's some concepts for the flag. So you got, based off the American flag, it's got me dressed as the feminist trolling the Women's March. I have Cowboy Vince on the American flag, obviously still, and real life me dressed as a feminist on the flag. So that's round one of the flags. Number two, we got the flags that say Vince Dao Autonomous Zone. They got the sort of the anarchist setup going, but it's anarchist. It's my form of Vince Dao anarchy, which means even though it's technically anarchy, I am a totalitarian despotic dictator of the place. But we got the red and the blue stripes. So obviously, it's Dao Autonomous Zone. But you have that with my feminist face, cowboy hat, and my old profile picture. So put in the chat, live chat right now, guys. What do you guys think is the ideal flag for Vince Dao Island? What island should Chevy? What flag should Chevy take to the island and plant in the ground? Let me know. All right. But we got a great setup of flags going here.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be some more up too. There's gonna be some more tomorrow, so make sure to vote on those.
Yeah, definitely. So make sure you guys are go voting. Make sure you guys are following Dao Pack so you can go vote on the thing. Go to the thing. sometimes, I'll probably put a link to Vince Dao Island in the description, because as you can see, sometimes it is rather hard to find it on Google Maps. I was able to find it, but it's not always possible. Sometimes it doesn't show up. So make sure, by the way, guys, if you're watching this, go to link in the description, go leave a 5-star review for my autonomous islands. Okay, Vince Dao Islands. Go in my description after the stream, and definitely go give a 5-star review. That'd be very much appreciated. But yeah. Are there any more questions in the Discord server, Sherry?
Doesn't look like it. I think we got all of them.
All right. We're almost toward the end of this little segment here. We've gone on about like 30 to 35, 40 minutes. So that's about adequate. But anyways, we'll spend like the last 10 minutes or so just having some fun. So I don't know. What's on your guys' minds?
Vince, I actually have one.
Yes.
Question. So
okay,
you
go
know
ahead.
how politics in Canada and America are different? Which system
Yeah.
do you prefer? Like everyone gets a vote, or is it like a collective state?
Okay, so like, let me know more about how like the political system in Canada works. I know it's sort of like a multi-party system, but is it decided by popular vote? Like what prime minister go ahead.
So basically, you each have one vote, and you vote for the person who thinks represents you the most.
And so is this for prime minister, or are there representatives?
This is for prime minister and councillor. So for prime minister, you each have your own vote, and whoever basically has the most vote wins.
Yeah. So popular vote, right?
Yeah.
And what about like your guys's? Do you guys have like your parliamentary system or whatever? How do you guys like vote on that?
I'm actually not too sure myself. I'm only in like grade school still, so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess if we're only talking about election leaders, I'm a big fan of the American Electoral College. It's the basis of federalism, which is like the sort of one of the key founding ideas of the country, which is that the idea that we're a federal state, not a unitary state, and so since we're like these 50 states that are coming together to make the decisions, make the country, and we're not all simply one large country. That's why in America we have a system where basically each of the states sort of votes. They do popular vote in the state, but then each of the states sort of cast their own vote for for either of the candidates. As to how that works, right? I favor that over popular vote because I'm sure this is a problem in Canada. I'm not exactly sure, but one of the big problems with a popular vote is that here in America, Los Angeles and New York would totally control the electorate if it was a popular vote. Like nowhere else would really matter. And one of the key ideas of the American founding fathers was that the vast majority of people in one place shouldn't get to just rule over. Like they were against tyranny of the mob, tyranny of the majority, and so they don't want like just LA and New York to be able to dictate everything for the whole country. That's why they believed in a federal system where all the states have sort of this proportionate like stay in the issue, and that's why we have the Electoral College, where every election looks like sort of like a map where every state sort of decides their candidate. I'm a bigger fan of that system, just because it's the foundation for the United States, and I think it prevents some. If you're a smaller country, then I think a popular vote is probably like the better way to go. But in a large country like the United States, it prevents like concentrated populations of just one urban area like LA or New York being able to dictate everything to the rest of the country, because that is what the United States is built on. Like we don't want these coastal elites to be able to dictate everything for us. We want local government to deal with things first, then state government, then the large federal government. We don't want a large overarching federal government that rules over everything. It's a way to decentralize the power, if that makes sense. So yeah. There you go.
No, it totally makes sense, because that's what Canada, Toronto, and Quebec decide the elections for the rest of us, essentially.
Yeah. That's what sort of the founders sort of have tried to avoid. Obviously, California and New York combined, they have like 56 plus 29, so that's like 85 electoral votes combined. So that is a lot, but they're still limited in the sense that they can't just win the election. Like you got to have all these other states on board to win the election. Let me grab my phone real quick. But yeah. Oop.
Well,
turn my light off.
The thing that sucks about that system too is that even when it comes to voting in the party leader who will become our prime minister, it's the same setup. Toronto, like Ontario and Quebec, count more than, say, me voting in the leader of the party.
Well, see, that's a huge problem, because how do you represent a place like Alberta, which I hear is a lot more rural, right? It's not as urban as some of the other provinces. How do you let a place like that have representation or say in government? You can't. And one of the interesting things about our presidential politics is that some of these small, not necessarily the smallest states, but some of these smaller states that don't really, control the pop culture or control aspects of the society that much. Come election season, come presidential season, you see all the presidential candidates get focused to those areas, like somewhere like Minnesota, like in the middle of the country, the area that usually gets forgotten, like it's considered a flyover state, right? Because when you fly across the country, you fly over, don't really notice it. But come presidential season, come election season, it requires the candidates and the president. Once you're as president, it requires you to actually pay attention to a lot of these areas that don't have the most concentrated populations. That's one of the great things about the Electoral College. Because of a place like LA, New York, the really urban areas, they're always going to get attention no matter what. But when you have an electoral college, it actually makes it easier for some of these smaller areas that don't normally get represented to actually, make sure their leaders looking out for them.
No, yeah, it totally makes sense.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll go on for like about 3 more minutes. Anyone else, guys, have anything else for me?
Even for us, it's a struggle, right?
Yeah, it is. Anyone have anything else for me, you guys? Chevy, Amon?
No.
Discord?
No, nothing there.
All right. Well, Dallas, go ahead if you have anything.
Speaking of Canadian politics, the Conservative Party had their debate today.
So today we're recording this Thursday. So you're saying Thursday, right?
Lewis.
So I totally missed. I totally missed what the second part of what you said. Could you say that again?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I just said that, and so far, the person I feel like is doing the best, for leader, she seems to actually care about Canada and want to do good for Canada. So, go Leslie Lewis.
Okay. Anyways, as we're nearing toward the end of the stream, Edward just came back. I'm assuming he's still on the side of the highway. But hello, sir. How are you doing?
Hello. I am not on the side of the highway anymore. I am now in a backyard.
We were able.
You're now in a backyard. Is it your backyard?
Beautiful infrastructure system to get to this location.
The roads did not disappoint. I do not know whose backyard this is.
You're in a random person's backyard. That sounds sort of illegal.
That
but yeah, definitely.
We don't care about the laws anymore. Laws don't apply.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right about that. Laws definitely don't apply in our society anymore. But libertarians wrecked epic style. Use the roads, the infrastructure to get home. Whatever will we do? Libertarians wrecked 100%. Thank you, Edward. But as I'm closing out this stream, we'll do like one last Q&A round. So, Edward, do you have anything for me that you'd like me to talk about? If not, we will just end the segment of the stream, and then I'll do my closing.
I have nothing.
You have nothing, but you are in a back. How did you tell us a story though? How did you end up in this random backyard? Like, what was the deal with that?
So, like, there are these roads, and
there's this thing called roads, right? Yeah. They have those in Massachusetts. Yeah.
And around town, they do have roads, and then there's these smaller roads called driveways, and at the end of the driveway, they've got backyards.
Nah, that's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty stylish house. Oh,
So let me get this straight. So you just did you hop someone's fence, or how did you end up in a random backyard like this? And are you in fear of being shot right now? That must be my question. There's no fence.
There's no guns in Massachusetts. There's
Okay,
no
well.
fence.
All right, and he's just gone. Okay, just left the stream. All right. Well, anyway, guys, thank you very much, Discord. For those of you guys watching, make sure you guys join. Oh, can I do it like this? Yeah. Make sure you guys join my Discord server. The link will be in my description. I'll make sure to add it. Just to talk, you guys, we have a little DAO Pack community. So talk with the people there. I'll try to get more active on there. But yeah, make sure you're joining my Discord. We'll definitely do this again sometime. You guys can come with questions. Hell, if you guys disagree on something, we can debate it. Like anything you guys want, we can definitely have some fun, and we can talk and stuff. But anyways, I want to thank the members of my Discord for doing this. This was an epic. This will probably be the 3rd hour. So make sure you're commenting in the chat right now. # 3-hour gang, because this will probably be the 3rd hour of the stream. But yeah, thank you, Discord. I'm going to close out the stream right now with my closing statement. But thank you guys very much. You guys want to say bye?
See you guys.
Bye.
This was very epic.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. On to the final part of this stream. To all of you guys who are still on this stream this is 2nd, 3rd hour. I don't know how long it's going to run. Thank you very much. Thank you for really tuning in tonight. You guys are awesome. I don't care if we're even at 3 hours or not. Spam it in the chat right now. # 3-hour gang, because you guys are real ones. Thank you for tuning into tonight's stream. But I want to close out. I want to leave you guys with, really, I think it's almost the theme of tonight's show. We Republicans need to man up. Honestly, all of us as conservatives need to man up. I do my best. Even Tucker Carlson does his best. By the way, Tucker Carlson is doing great right now. But we all need to do better, And it's mainly Republican politicians, but don't get me wrong, there are a lot of conservatives also, just in the movement in general, who are too cowardly to take a stand. We're sacrificing our country away to the mob. It is ritual sacrifice. Okay? Man up, conservatives. Man up. Get tough. It is time. No more beating around the bush. No more acting like Brian Kemp. Get tough. Man up or woman up. Can you say that? Can you say that? Woman up. I don't want to be sexist. You know what I mean? Can you say woman up? Bottom line, get tough. Make alpha moves. Alpha moves only. I know it is hard. That's how totalitarianism grows. That's how the mob grows. That's how the mob becomes powerful. Because they scare the ordinary, regular people into silence. Okay? They win by making you think you're isolated, that you're alone, but you're not. The majority of the people in this country, quiet as it is kept, stand for law and order. You don't believe me? Look at Sean Hannity's ratings, someone who has really just taken the soft side in all this, versus Tucker Carlson's ratings. The people, the voices who actually say what the silent majority thinks win the silent support of the silent majority. If enough of them speak out, the silent majority no longer becomes silent, because then it becomes mainstream to have the opinions of the silent majority. That is the problem. Only the opinions of the mob are allowed to be mainstream right now. And it needs to stop. By the way, as Republicans, guys, please, I know a lot of you guys are passionate about these other issues, okay, like taxes, feminism, all this other stuff. Put it on hold. Put it on hold. You have plenty of time to talk about these non-time sensitive issues later. Right now, we are in the midst of a leftist takeover of our country. Only worry about that. Only think about that. All these other stuff, the economy, all this stuff, worry about it later. And that goes for the politicians too. We're in the middle of national crisis. I mean, we are really in a civil war. I mean, people won't necessarily want to admit it. Our country is in a state of civil war. Focus on it. Worry about it. We can deal with the other issues later. We can fix the economy later. Our survival of the country is at stake right now. And all of the patriots in this country are silent. They're silent as the communists take over our effing country. Stop it. Speak up. Use your voice. Alpha moves only. That's my final message. Anyways, thank you guys very much for tuning in tonight. Make sure you join my Discord server. Links in my description. If you're in the Arizona area, or if you're willing to travel out, make sure you register and head on out to the Students for Trump convention live featuring Donald Trump Jr., Kimberly Guilfoyle, and President Trump, a man I really hope fixes himself and gets tough and goes back to being the man we know and love. President Trump, live. Never seen the president before. It's a great time to start, especially if you're a young student at a Students for Trump convention. Live Tuesday, June 23rd in Phoenix, Arizona. You register at trumpstudents.org/convention. I will be there. You can meet and greet me. It's going to be awesome. But yes, thank you guys very much for tuning into tonight's stream. Hopefully internet problems are fixed, so next week we can actually go live, because this is a pre-recorded segment. But I will see you guys in the next week. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. By the way, almost forgot to mention this. Tomorrow, probably, okay, I'm not saying definitely, but probably tomorrow night we were doing a live panel reaction stream during Trump's rally tomorrow night, so you can watch the rally and hear from us and hear our thoughts on it. Probably doing a panel with like Chandler Crump and a few others. But yeah, so stay tuned. Be sure to check on in. Make sure to see if there's a live stream on this channel tomorrow. Come on. Come watch the live stream with us. It's going to be great. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode of America Rising, the Vince Dao Show. I'll see you guys probably tomorrow night. But until the next time I see you guys, thank you very much. Make America great again, okay? But God bless America. I'll see you guys later. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye, guys.